And just like that, baby, we are officially live on the official Wado podcast, and I am here with owner of Ketch A Fire Jerkin Seafood, Chef Shaq. How you doing, man? I appreciate you joining the show.
I'm doing good. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. It's a blessing and an honor to be here. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's an honor for me, man. Listen, as a local guy, anyone driving around the city,
Yeah.
Treasure Coast, you will see their trucks all over the place, posted up. If you don't see them, you're definitely gonna smell them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Chef?
yeah.
Hey, listen. I want to start from the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Chef Shaq, where are you from, and how did we get to Ketch A Fire?
All right, man. So when you say where I'm from, are we talking
In
roots?
totality,
Talking roots?
from the roots, yeah.
So yeah, man. I'm from one of the smallest islands in the Caribbean, man. It's called St. Martin. It's 37 square miles. Very, very small. Very small.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what landed you? When did you get here?
So it was my dad's idea. I know, I remember that much. I think I was about 13, 14 years old
Right.
when we first came, and it was definitely a big change for us. Big change.
Now, Chef Shaq, have you
Yes, sir.
always wanted to be a chef? Is this something that was always your goal, always your dream?
So I would say no, man. I would say cooking kind of found its way to me, but naturally, it came to me in a natural way because growing up, mom and dad, they always had my sister and I in the kitchen, man. We were always in the kitchen. Dinner time was a special time for us. It was a family thing that we did almost every night for as long as I could remember as kids. And but we weren't just there to eat, man. We were there to prepare.
Right.
We were there to help cook, whether it was just peeling potatoes or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It was we were involved. They always made sure we were involved. And I'm not gonna say that my mom was like a big influence on that, but more so my dad, man. My dad,
Yeah.
he had this thing for cooking, man. He was always lit about it. He was always excited about it. you
Right.
know. He's actually the reason why Ketch A Fire started, and I kind of just followed in his footsteps in that direction.
Wow. And then let's get right on that. We're right here in front of it, a beautiful food truck, sir.
Yeah.
Someone walked by and said, "You got a restaurant?" Chef's
Yeah.
like, I got a food truck. No,
It's a
you
food
got a
truck.
restaurant on wheels, sir. What is Ketch A Fire?
It's funny you asked that because somebody asked me that the other day. Ketch A Fire, man, is really just it's a family business that, we bring our traditional family recipes to the community of Port St. Lucie. That's what I could say it is, man, because we love doing it. It's a passion of ours, and we wake up every day and do it, and nothing feels better, man. Nothing feels better.
At this point, 2023, how long has Ketch A Fire been on road? How long have you had a food truck on the road?
So Ketch A Fire been open for about 8 years now.
Wow.
8 years, yeah, solid.
Hey, 2 food trucks is no joke. Can you tell me about when the first one hit the road? What was that like?
Oh, it was tough in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. It was, we were new to the community,
Right.
so, I'll go back a little further than that. So, I went to Broward College and I studied business.
Broward.
Yeah, I studied business administration. I got my associate's degree out of there. And funny story. So, I think it was my senior year in college. My dad had a mechanic shop, and it wasn't too far from school, so I would always go there after school when I'm done.
Right.
And one day he just came up to me and he was like, "We should do a food truck." Yeah. So that's where the first one came from. He literally just said, "We should do a food truck, and what do you think?" And I go, "You know what? We should, because I know cooking is your thing. That's
Right,
your,
right.
I know he would enjoy that." So immediately I was no hesitation. I said, "Yes, let's do it." And then he goes, "All right, you're gonna help me buy the truck?" And I'm like,
Right.
"Well, if I can,
Right.
So we used to get, if you ever go to any colleges and stuff like that, we used to get this thing called financial aid.
Yep.
And we used to get refunds from the financial aid.
Yeah.
And I think what I did was, instead of buying books that year, I saved my refunds,
Right.
and I gave my
because
dad
they just
half.
gave it to you up front.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
it was for school purposes, like books, and then they gave you a little extra too for
Yep.
like other expenses. And that's what I used. I gave my dad like half of what I had got, which I think was like $1,500.
Wow.
And that's what bought the first shell of a truck.
The first investment.
Yeah, $1,500, man.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
Chef, I want to ask you, growing up with a family that has great cooking, great recipes, and great food,
Yeah.
when did you realize you were blessed with a family with great cooking and great food? Because, I mean, real quick, you can see some people don't understand what good food is.
Yeah, very early on, man. Ever since, because both my parents are Jamaican, so they both grew up Jamaican born, grew up in Jamaica. They actually, in America, we call different areas of America states.
Right, yes.
In Jamaica, they call different areas of Jamaica parishes.
Okay.
So mom and dad grew up in the same parish, but never cross paths.
Wow.
They crossed paths in St. Martin, which they both migrated to in search of a better life, for lack of better words.
Wow.
Yeah, they wanted better for themselves. They both did. So they left Jamaica very early and moved there, and that's where they met. But yeah, I would say very early on, because grandma is a good chef. My both sides, mom and dad. My grandfather is a really good chef. May he rest in peace. From my dad's dad. Yeah, it wasn't a thing for us to be going out to eat. It was always a home thing. Going out, McDonald's and Burger King and those things, those were like, how you say, like
celebrations?
Like a birthday.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Take you out to treat you like every 2 months.
A treat. That's right.
It was like going to the movies for us, as kids. So, yeah, we were really, even for breakfast and stuff like that, man, it was always like a constant cooking, yeah.
Right. And would you say, I mean, I feel like even these new generations on the phone and technology and just being able to go out and have Uber Eats is so easy. I think a lot of traditions that really have home cooked meals it's bigger than a meal, like you said. You're coming together.
Yeah, it's
You're
love.
talking to each other. You're creating the food together. You're working. You're with each other, bonding.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that growing up and having that?
Yeah, those were special moments, man. I think that's one of the reasons why I am who I am today, because of that bond that we share. And we shared that bond over food. It's a big deal for us. It's a big deal.
Chef Shaq, who are the employees of Ketch A Fire? Did you just hire some people off Indeed? Who do we got working for you right here?
No, man. So it's 100% family owned currently. My wife, man, shout out to her, because she played a major role in us still being able to continue pushing forward through the hard times, man. The times where, things got tough. I would say my wife played that role, man. She's always by my side,
Right.
Supporting me and, pushing me and, just encouraging me. And then shout out to moms too, because mom also worked with us. My mom, she she rock and roll, man. She put it down. She
That's
put it.
awesome.
If you ever had the fried chicken or, any kind of fish.
Now you know.
She did that.
Now you know. Now, Chef Shaq, a lot of people tell you to not mix business and love. Don't mix business and relationships. Can you tell me the benefits and the struggles of having to work with your family?
Wow. I don't think anybody ever asked me that, but
We only keep it real on this show, Chef. That's it, the reality.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, Wido, having somebody that, shares the same goals as you is something special, because it gives you more drive. You get more encouraged, and it makes thinking about failure harder, because somebody else is there thinking about positive stuff and pushing you forward and stuff like that. So it's a blessing, really, to be honest.
And now another question I want to ask, as
Yes,
someone
sir.
that works for your own food truck, your own company, your own food, it's kind of like, someone that works at Chipotle. How many times are you going to eat lunch at Chipotle? Do you ever get tired of your own food?
No.
Or are you always going to have your own food ready to go?
Yeah, I'm always going to eat my food, man. I love it.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Loves it. That's big to me, because you see a
Yeah.
lot of people, even a place that they own,
Yeah.
they can't eat there for lunch. They're tired of it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And maybe because this is actual real food.
Gotcha. So, yeah, when you got a passion for something, man, and you really love what you do, it's really hard not to do it.
Right.
It's really hard. Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you, as a chef, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, can you describe a great day and a bad day?
That's a good question too. In terms of what? In terms of what?
In terms of owning Ketch A Fire, you own. A lot of people say, "Hey, man, I have a nice dish. My family owns a nice dish. I want to own a food truck." All right, cool. Then it takes a lot to do it. As an owner of a food truck, been on road for 8 years. Can you describe a great day and a bad day?
I mean, for me, a great successful day is knowing that every plate that we put out was our best. I think because, like I said, we when you love what you do, man, you want other people to enjoy it too.
Right.
And the best feeling, especially for a chef, the best feeling is to have people enjoy, what you do, because there's a lot of steps to getting it to where it's at.
Yeah.
It's not something that we just shove in the microwave. You know what I mean? It's prepping, it's cleaning, it's sourcing. It's like 10 different ingredients in the jerk chicken alone. You know what I mean? And then you got to wake up in the morning. Matter of fact, the jerk chicken is something that we prepped at least 2-3 days in advance.
Right.
So
Wow.
when you get it, this is chicken that was seasoned yesterday or the day before,
Right.
depending on the time. You know what I mean? So just that marination process is very serious for us, because that's where you get all the good flavors and stuff from. Yeah, a good day, man, is just that. It's just knowing that everyone had a good experience.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And what's the process like? Obviously, like you just said, some of the chicken is getting marinated, cooked for days.
Yeah.
From the initial day, if you wake up on a Tuesday, you just turn the lights on.
Yeah.
From when I'm able to come to your door and order something, how much time goes in there, and what's that process like?
Yeah, so my day usually starts at about 6 a.m. You know what I mean? A good batch of jerk chicken would probably take about 4 hours. So
Wow.
I'd say about like 11 a.m. That's when it's ready to be served.
Yep.
So yeah, you just have that time, and then you have the time that went into cleaning and prepping. So yeah.
And now, I've been a customer, not of Ketch A Fire. I've never had this happen, but I've been a customer
I don't know
sometimes
why.
of
I
food
don't know
trucks, and
why.
I walk up. Hold on now. I walk up, and they're just not ready yet. Give me
Okay.
20 minutes. I'm like, damn, just right there on the cusp. Have you ever had that experience? What's it like being the chef, being the person preparing the food, saying, just give me 5-10 more minutes?
Like I said, I'm not gonna be very meticulous about things, but it's very important that the process that we how we put it together is very important, that flows right. Sometimes when you think about cooking for just your family, you're thinking about taking your time and making sure everything's cooked right. But when you're cooking for a lot of people, you want to do that same thing, but it's harder to do because you're not cooking for a family of 4 or 5. You're cooking
Correct.
for like 20, 30, 40 people in that one time period. So every minute counts.
Right.
As far as like making sure everything's cooked properly, and especially in the morning time when we're just opening, we want to make sure the rice is good. We want to make sure the veggies are good. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a big predicator on that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And now a lot of people, we've had a lot of other businesses that are stationary, have a storefront that's you know what I mean, that's just there. As a food truck that gets to be mobile and go around the city, around the community, do you
Right.
have more of a sense of passion because of that? Because you're more, closer to us? You're really pulling up on us?
I think the mobility aspect plays a major role in just being able to connect with more people. But I'd say because we've been at the corner of St. James and Aroso for a while now, and just being in that community and getting that support from that community has been great for us, man. So
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. That's kind of why we did our second truck, because when we found that location and we saw that there was great potential there, we said, you know what, we got to lock this down.
Almost make it stationary.
Yeah, almost make it stationary. But, we take the truck home at night.
Right, right.
Stuff like that. But, that to me, it goes both ways, really.
And so, obviously, you do big events. You cater. You're going to pull up anywhere they need you,
Right.
sir. What's the difference of a prep day going from somewhere like you're going to go to Sunoco the normal day to when you're going to go to an event now? What's the differences?
It's not much different, man. It's the same process because, we were I think now that I have this truck, I noticed that we were operating as if we already had this truck as
Gotcha.
far as prepping goes, because we'd always stay on top of things and make sure, everything's ready to go when we need it to be. So the process isn't much different. Now, the cooking times is different because now I have to wake up an extra hour earlier to get stuff going for this truck and the other truck. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's different.
And if you could go back, Chef, and tell yourself one thing, knowing what you know now, if anything, what would you tell yourself? To maybe avoid to not do, something, whatever you know now, everything in life, what would you have told yourself? You can only go tell yourself one thing.
To not waste time, man. Yeah, time is precious. You don't get it back. That's the one thing you don't get back. That's it.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Now, Chef, if you were to go back 5 years ago
Yeah.
and tell yourself where you're at, what you're doing right now, would he have believed it?
I think so. I'm a very I wouldn't say I'm an extroverted. I'm very introverted at times, more so. But I like to say that I can see ahead of me. You know what I mean? So 5 years ago, I can say that I saw where I am now.
Wow.
It almost feels like a deja vu effect sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm always thinking about doing better and growing as a person. So I wouldn't be shocked, no. I wouldn't be.
And now, Chef, I want to ask, there's a lot of great chefs out there, a lot of people making Jamaican food, okay?
Right.
You got great food, but they don't
Yes, sir.
always last. I credit a lot of things to having a great team as a basketball player. Can you talk
sir.
about how important the team is?
Team is very important, man, especially, in terms of food, though, I'll be honest, it's all about taste and flavor, man, and consistency. Consistency is the game. Yeah.
You would know, sir. You would know.
Having a great team is important. Like I said, my wife, she's been very supportive, and my mom, she's awesome. Everybody's awesome. So having a good team is important, but the taste, consistency, all that plays a bit more of a role in whether or not you're going to last, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And what is your opinion on mentors? Obviously, you got your family close. Do you have any mentors, whether it's business or life? And are you a mentor for anybody?
I have a mentor, someone that I look up to in a way. I think mom and dad, they're mentors.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen my dad work for anyone my whole life. He's always had his own business. He's always done his own thing. But he did it at a level where we were comfortable, and we always had what we needed. And I think he always put us above himself.
Wow.
So that was noticed. That never went unnoticed, I would say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't do everything yourself. That's one thing I had to detach myself from, because
Right.
I always wanted to make sure everything was up to my standards.
Right.
But teamwork is very important. Yeah.
And now, if I was an alien or just somebody that's, wasn't in Florida, I've never had any jerk chicken, any Jamaican food in my life, Chef.
Yeah.
And today I need some, and you're the man to provide it. What's my plate going to look like?
What's your plate gonna look like?
This is my one time to have Jamaican food, and if I'm a millionaire, let's say, Chef, and if I like it, I'm all in. I'm looking for a chef to go all in on. Never had Jamaican food. What are you preparing for me?
Well, I think keeping it traditional would be the route to go. Some rice and peas and, jerk chicken with steamed vegetables, maybe.
Right.
Something like that. Keeping it traditional.
Anything in particular to Ketch A Fire is going to make it a little special? Any sauce, seasoning? What separates you guys? Anybody can just have some rice and chicken, Chef.
I think what separates us, man, from a lot of places is our preparation, really. Because the taste and flavor, like I said, is the most important part. We're very meticulous on that. We're very. It's important to us that you enjoy what we're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's gonna show when you see the food, you're gonna see that love, but when you taste it, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it.
And now, Chef, I always like to ask this on my show. I bend it for any kind of artist or business owner. If I could offer you $5,000 tomorrow, or 50 people that you get to meet and they get to come to your window and they get to tell you what your food meant to them, how it impacted. You get to see the impact. You just want the cash, $5,000, or do you want 50 people in person?
I want the 50 people.
And why is that, Chef? Because a lot of people give me both answers, and I'll always like to hear why.
It's love, man. $5,000 it's a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie, but having that response, and like I said, it's love, man. It's having that feeling of someone coming up to you and saying, "Hey, man, that was really good."
Right.
That's more worth it to me than the $5,000. I mean, it can go a long way, but you could always make that. You could always make that in other ways. You know what I mean?
Right. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fascinated with it because, like I said, I drive by the shop or I drive by the gas station, which you're parked out in front all the time, and I'm just like, man, think about all the cultures that Chef gets to see, his wife, his mom gets to see every day. You know, all walks of life coming up to that window. Because, like I said, I've seen people that were not planning to come to your window,
Right.
and they either smelt it, saw it, whatever. They're one like my boy Cody. Shout out to Q. Q's coming there for Catch a Fire. You know he's there for it. But some people walk by and they're like, is that? So what's that like, seeing people that might not have came up to your window until they smelt you, until they found you, and now they're familiar and they're coming back?
Well, naturally, jerk chicken, or anything that has to do with jerk is, you know, plays the grill plays that. The grill is where that's home base. That's
Right.
that's what it's supposed to be. If you're getting jerk chicken and it's not being cooked on a grill, it's not jerk chicken.
It's just not jerk chicken,
not
ladies
jerk
and gentlemen.
chicken,
You heard
no.
it here
I'm
first.
telling you.
Now, what can the people look forward to you 2023 coming up? What's the future look like? Where will we find you? Where will we see you? Chef Shaq, Catch a Fire.
Yeah, 2023, man, it's all about growth and, you know, maintaining what we do and just continuing to support our families and support the community, man. Being
Right,
a
big
part
support of the
yeah.
community. And then we're going to have a lot of events. We got looking in the future. We have a lot of events coming up. We're going to include you, any local vendor. That's what we're going to do. My show, I'm trying to be the local showcase here. We're showcasing some local legends. Chef, I got
Yes,
a wide
sir.
of questions I got to ask you.
Yes, sir.
If you're stuck on an island for 1 month, can only listen to 3 artists, who will you pick? Just 3 of them out there.
Do they have to be alive?
Nope. Just music. You get the whole catalog.
So I'd say the people that the music or the artists that had the most impacts in my life, I'd say Bob Marley for one.
We're jamming.
Catch a Fire actually was inspired by Bob Marley.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of his first albums was called Catch a Fire, which is spelled Catch A Fire. So we kind of put our own lingo on it and say, you know what, catch a fire, jerking seafood. You know? It was a very it was like probably a good 5-hour conversation.
Right.
You know what to name the truck, and
Shout out to Bob.
so Bob Marley for sure. You know, I would say maybe some Jacquior. You know, that'll do it for me too.
Right.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and say Damian Marley as well, man.
Damian
I'm
Marley.
thinking about, because when you ask that question, I'm thinking about like who had the most influence as far as like changing my mood or giving me that ambition, you know. And music like that does it for me.
That's what it's all about. A lot of people just listen to music, but it's really a fuel if you use it right.
Oh, if you listen to the right, because you know, it's all about what you put in your head.
That's right.
And
That's right.
different words, different things could have different influences on you. So I tend to listen to things that are positive. Because
It's one of the few things you have choice over, what you listen to.
Right. Oh,
Why not make
very
it
true.
something that's positive or something that's going to benefit you?
Yeah, man. I think that's key to a lot, because you know, if you pay attention to what you're listening to and what you're taking in, that's what you're gonna put out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it has the ability to take you from feeling a certain way to feeling better about certain things. You know, that's what I would say to that. Yeah. Music has that impact.
Chef, we know what you're doing. We see you out here doing it clearly. Hello.
Yeah.
But I want to ask, who do you do it for?
For the fam. Yeah. That's as clear cut as I can get. I mean, you know, I want to say a shout out to my wife's grandfather. He just passed away. Well, it's actually been a year, but you know, people like that had that influence in my life, were positive influence, that were very encouraging. You know, always called in the right time when you needed it, gave you those words of encouragement. I mean, those are the people that I do it for, man. Like, just, you know, people that had positive impact in my life.
That's right.
Yeah.
And is this ever something that you would consider teaching? The craft, the business?
Oh yeah. Like, Look, I wouldn't mind sharing our recipes because we already do that. I think if someone's passionate about cooking and just or business in general, want to learn something about business,
Right.
it's very important that we share that because it does something to you as far as like connecting you to others.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
And I only ask that, Chef, because I got a lot of youth out here that watch my show. And hey, if you're trying to be an intern, you want to learn from a certified boss, be a chef, entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
He needs employees. Come on now, come an intern, man. Learn from the man. I appreciate you so much, Chef, for coming on the Wado Podcast. It's been a pleasure. If you guys didn't know, go check them out. Ketch A Fire Jerk and Seafood on all platforms. We hope to see you soon. And if you don't see them, like I said, you're going to smell the trucks. Chef, thank you. Any last words?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Yeah, stay tuned, man. A lot of big things coming.
Big thing coming. All on the grill. Let's go,
Yes,
Chef.
sir.